Hey, everybody, welcome. It's Dr. Levi with your show, The Dr. Levi Show. Today is June 8th, 2016. Well, here in California, the initial part of the election is over. All right, so we have our presumptive nominees and everything with respect to Trump and Hillary, and of course Bernie Sanders said he's still in the race. So it's great for me personally when this is all over. You know, I think what I call the soap operification of politics. I can't wait for this to just be done. So I'm sure everybody voted yesterday. It's so important that we exercise that right. And secondly, I want to say, wherever you are today, I hope you're having a good day and know and understand that you create your own day. I want to talk about a few things that are really, really heartfelt for me, and that is the passing of Muhammad Ali. You know, so he was really iconic, and I want to tell you a very interesting story about him. He really transcended the ring. You know, everyone talks about him being a great boxer. Well, he was really more than that. He was a humanitarian. He was an activist. He was a philanthropist. He was a true humanitarian. He was someone that stood for excellence and as well as athletic prowess and great athleticism. He was a gold medal winner in the 1960 Olympics in Rome in boxing. He was really someone that was a force of nature. Now, I want to tell you a very interesting story about him. Is I look back in my life and I think about having the opportunity to meet really iconic people like Maya Angelou and the other person I was going to tell you was Maya Angelou and Whitney Houston. And also, I want to tell you about Muhammad Ali. When I was in elementary school, one of our instructors, Sister Roland Lagarde, she called my mom one morning. She said she wanted to take me downtown to the Civic Auditorium to meet Muhammad Ali. And I remember when she said she was going to take me, in my mind, I knew it was Muhammad Ali, but it didn't hit me the gravity of who this man was. So when we got to the Municipal Auditorium, there was an extremely long line. And so when you got to the table, Muhammad Ali was actually sitting there. And so when I got there, I looked at him. For some reason, I couldn't speak, which is interesting because as a kid, I was a big stutterer. I didn't speak very well at all. And I still stutter sometime now and then. But it's just me. So when I got right up to him, he looked at me and he said, "How you doing, young man?" And I just looked at him and I still didn't speak. He said, "Did you hear me? How you doing, young man?" And he said it like twice, and I was just looking at him. So he says, "Come here." So I go around the table to him, and he punches me in my chest. He says, "Wake up, young man." And I just looked at him. I still couldn't talk. And so finally he said, "Well, what do you want to do?" And I said, what are you going to be? And I said, "Well, I believe I'm going to be," and I stuttered a lot as a child, so I said, the doctor. And he said, "No, you're not going to just be a doctor. You're going to be a great doctor. They going to know about you, son." And so I looked at him, and he was such a tall man. Now in my mind, as a kid, I remember thinking, this is really Muhammad Ali. I'm actually meeting him. So, when it comes to Muhammad Ali, so I think about that I actually had the opportunity to actually meet him and that he actually touched me. Well, he didn't touch me, he punched me. But again, I'm grateful for that punch because, again, it still inspired me now as a man to always go for excellence, to always be better, to always go for living a life, not simply excellence, but also a life of excellence with respect to service and being a vibrant part of this family of humanity. So today on our show, so again, may Muhammad Ali rest in great, great peace. I'm sure the doors of heaven just opened up to welcome him, because I'm sure he's up there talking a lot of smack as he did here on earth. So today our show is about Q&A, questions and answers from Facebook, from Instagram, from email. So, as, quote unquote, Dr. Levi, the gamer's doctor, Dr. Levi, the esports doctor, my goal is really to educate the gaming community and to remind you of different exercises and stretches that you can do to not only maintain your health, but also have a long-term career in gaming. I want you to be healthy. I want you to be happy. I want you to have a body that you can use, because don't forget, a healthy, happy body is a body that can be used for healthy, happy service. That's what it's all about. It's not just getting fit to have the six-pack. As again, I've said on the show many times, I can tell you and teach you how to get a six-pack. But can you maintain it? And then more importantly, after you get the six-pack, what do you do with it? Do you just floss it? Do you just go around so people can see it, or do you do things to help other people get a six pack? That's the thing. It's about living a life of service. Well, let's talk about some of the questions that I've gotten on all the social media platforms, and also I want to thank everyone for joining me on YouTube. Right now, YouTube following, we have about a little over 18,000 subscribers, which is really phenomenal. Our goal, of course, is 1.5 million, and I know we're going to hit that number and surpass it easily. I know it's coming because our shows, our videos and the radio show, everything we do here is about service. It's about making a difference in the communities, but more importantly about reminding you that your health has to be prioritized and that you don't have to go to the gym to get fit. The gym is where your body is. You can do it right where you are. The goal is to do something every day, to maintain fitness, to be careful with your diet, and to enjoy life. I'm not saying you have to be the paleo ketogenic doc that I am. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying do what works for your body. That's the goal here. So don't feel bullied into doing what your sister and your brother and your lover and your husband and your wife, what they're doing. That's their body. Let them do what they do, and then you do you. That's because you take you wherever you go. So if you're doing a diet that works for you, fantastic. If not, then continue to be on the search, and you'll finally find what works for you. But don't judge yourself harshly. Love the body that you're in. Love the skin that you're in because it's the only body that you'll ever really get. So why not love and appreciate it just the way it is? So with that said, thanks for joining me on all the social media platforms, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, YouTube, you name it, we're on it, I think. So I want to thank you for that. So let's get to some of the questions. These were questions that were emailed. So this was from Farad, F-O-R-O-D, and it's, hey, Dr. Levi, first of all, you're amazing. Well, thank you for that. And your videos help me very much, and thank you for that. What do you suggest for wrist pain while doing pull-ups? Well, let me tell you about that, Farad. Often when people are doing pull-ups, now I want to go through both. So pull-ups can often be done with the palms toward you or with the palms away from you. Now, often what people do when they're doing a pull-up is they will overcorrect with their wrist, meaning that they will hyperflex their wrist. Now, if you do that, you put a lot of strain and tension on your extensor muscles as well as on your wrist. So it's so important that when you're doing a pull-up to really keep your wrist in neutral position. So again, this is the hyperflex position, which you want to avoid. And this is neutral position, which really allows you to pull with your triceps and your biceps. So again, it's not this movement. It's keeping your wrist like that when you're pulling your body up. So I hope that really helps you. Now, the other thing, too, if you're having a lot of pain after you're doing pull-ups, it's so important to ice your wrists after that. That'll help you also. In medicine, we talk about the RICE method, which is rest, ice, compression, elevation for most acute injuries. I think rest and ice can also be applied for not only acute injuries, but also for chronic injuries. So if you're doing an exercise like a pull-up, then be sure to correct your wrist, keep it in a neutral position. So I hope that helps you, Farad. Next question, this is from Facebook. Hello, doctor. I recently watched your great videos on YouTube. I want to consult you about my thumb. I fell down on it 4 years ago. I didn't break it, and it was checked by x-ray, but nothing happened. I'm in a little bit of pain and a little hard to do the OK sign with my left hand. I read that it's my injury of the nerve. And this is from ERAZ, E-R-E-Z. Okay, so let's talk about that. Often when you're unable to do this sign, which is called the OK sign, if you cannot do that and have difficulty doing that, is due to an injury to the anterior interosseous nerve. It's called the AIN. You can develop something called AIN syndrome. And the anterior interosseous nerve is a branch of the median nerve. It's the motor branch of the median nerve, which allows one to have innervation to the following muscle groups: the pronator quadratus, the flexor pollicis longus of the thumb, and the flexor digitorum profundus to the index finger and the middle finger. So if you can't do that and you're unable to really flex your thumb and flex your index finger and even your middle finger, then it may be due to an injury to the anterior interosseous nerve. Now, how do we confirm that? Well, you have to get an EMG nerve conduction study to confirm that the nerve has this possibly isolated injury. Now, you said you injured your thumb, but it's not clear if you only injured your thumb or did you also have an injury to your forearm also, because that nerve comes off pretty proximal in the forearm. but it has innervation distally also. So I hope that helps you, Farad. The bottom line with that is, again, I recommend that you consider getting the EMG nerve conduction study. Also doing the stretches, the strengthening and stretching exercises from the YouTube video for hand, wrist, elbow, forearm stretching exercises. All right. Now, next question is, hello, doctor. Big fan of your videos as I spend a lot of time on the computer. I'd like to ask, how frequently should I do the stretches? Currently, I do them at random times. And this is from Andrej, and that's Andre J, possibly, Andrej. Okay, so I want to be real clear and specific about that. When it comes to the exercises for gamers or for anyone who's sitting down for an extended period of time doing a lot of typing, data input, a lot of texting, it's so important that you take 5 minutes every hour, which is, think about it. It's not a lot of time. You have 24 hours in a day. So I'm saying for 5 minutes every hour, take that time to do the strengthening and stretching exercises. They're really not that difficult, and they don't take very long. You can do about 5 or 8 exercises in a 5-minute period with no problem. So again, I recommend the following, Andre J. Number one, random doesn't really work. Our bodies really like systematic use and systematic challenges. So I really think it's so important that you do these exercises every hour for 5 minutes. Take the time to stretch and do these exercises. And I think you'll see a difference with respect to having pain, having any spasms, but more importantly, the goal, as I talk to gamers from around the world, is what can I do to help increase your clicks per minute as well as increase your actions per minute. But more importantly, it's about prevention. How do we prevent you from developing a repetitive stress injury? How do we prevent you from developing tendinitis, pain, swelling, muscle spasms, increased areas of inflammation? Well, we do that by doing the exercises. So again, Andre J., not random, but I really recommend you do these exercises for 5 minutes every 60 minutes. So I hope that helps you a lot. All right, let's get to the next. And these are from Facebook also. Hey there, Dr. Levi. I really like your esports videos, but I have a concern. My hands sweat a lot, like abnormally a lot. I have been to skin docs, and they gave me some soaps and stuff, but it doesn't really help. And I game a lot also. Is there a way to get rid of the sweat? Thanks. This is from Mzugi. That's Mzoughi. All right. So sounds like you have what's called hyperhidrosis. So hyperhidrosis, I often recognize this in patients when I meet them. When I extend my hand to shake their hand, the first thing that they'll do is put their hands in their pockets, or they'll wipe their hands on their pants. So number one, I want to say this. Don't have any embarrassment about this condition. Number two, there are a lot of different treatments that we have for hyperhidrosis. So I'll tell you about some of them. So often this can be treated with Botox injections. It can also be treated with what's called a neurectomy. Basically, we'll cut a nerve that comes off in the cervical spine that will impact the amount of sweating that you have in this area. It's called a rhizotomy, actually. And that's one of the last things that we do. So besides that, Botox is a mainstay often for this, but I will say this: there are also some other therapies that I've read about, including different forms of laser treatments. There are also different forms of medications that are given to decrease the amount of sweating that someone may have. So again, the number one thing is don't feel embarrassed about it. Number two, I recommend that you talk to your internal medicine physician about it. Talk to her or him about that. And then the other thing that you can do, of course, is talk to a neurologist, because they'll definitely be able to pinpoint and to get you focused to who in your community would be the best person to deal with that. So I hope that really helps you. But number one, don't have any embarrassment about that. When someone has hyperhidrosis, the major areas they will have a lot of sweating will be in their armpits, their hands, their groin area, as well as their feet. The bottom, the soles of their feet will also be very, very sweaty. So again, no stress about that. There are ways that we can treat that. So I hope that helps you. Now, this is from Twitter and YouTube. This one is from Dcore1337. That's DCORE1337. Hi, my neck gets really tight from studying and sometimes from playing games. Mostly, my trap muscles and the tightness make me dizzy, which is annoying. Any exercise you recommend? Okay, Decor 1337. If you look on YouTube, I have a lot of exercise for stretching your neck and your trap muscles. Here, I'm going to push back a little bit so you can see this. These are some exercises that I recommend that you can do. They're very simple. If you're sitting down for a long period of time, you can roll your shoulders back like this. For a set of 10, roll them backwards, then roll them forward for a set of 10. Really, really easy. Then you can do some shrugs. The shrugs are done like this, just up and down, up and down, up and down. A set of 10 that way. You'll really feel much better after that. Then the other thing you can do if you like, you can even alternate it, doing them this way. Roll your shoulders back, just right and left, left and back, forward and back, forward and back. And then you reverse it just like that also. That can help with some of the tightness that you experience. Now I want to show you another stretch, one of my favorite stretches also. You can just push down, take your hand, push down, let's say, on your left shoulder. Now drop your head slightly to the right and hold that way. You hold this for 15 to 30 seconds. Now when you do this stretch, it's important that you do this sitting down, not standing up, especially you made the statement that you feel dizzy sometimes. So you push down, then just drop your head to the other shoulder. Now, you switch over, push down on the right, drop your head to the left, and hold this for 15 to 30 seconds. Always do this when you're sitting down. Now, the other thing that you can do that I love, this is one of my favorite stretches also, it's called the bear hug, where you simply just wrap your arms around yourself like this and just hold tight and then relax. Hold tight, squeeze, 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 and then relax. So you're really just bringing your shoulder blades across like that, and you're squeezing, 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 and relax. And then, of course, I want to reiterate, again, up and down for a set of 10, just like that. You'll feel this. Around, back for a set of 10, and then forward for a set of 10, all right? So you have the exercise, and again, hold here and drop your head to the other side. And you're really pushing down and dropping to the other side. And hold for 15 to 30 seconds. So this will help you a lot, especially if you're sitting down for an extended period of time studying. So good luck with your studies as well as good luck with your gaming. Okay, now the next one is from Nimba. I love that name, Nimba. The question is, don't know if this is within your field, but how to heal groin pain faster, like after playing football, soccer, etc. Okay, Nimba, so let's talk about that. So groin pain is often due to an injury to the adductor muscles. Adductor, ad means the muscles that are in your inner thigh that bring your legs together, bring your thighs together. Now, the major way that we treat someone who has adductor strain or abductor discomfort or groin strain, we treat that with, again, rest, ice, and also gentle stretching exercises. Now, when I say gentle, I really mean gentle. Don't. If you feel discomfort when you're doing a really mild adductor stretch, an adductor is spelled ADDUCTOR, adductor. Again, ADDUCTOR, adductor muscles. So that's a groin sprain or groin strain. So again, we treat it with rest, and we treat it with ice and also gentle stretching exercises. Now, you can also have therapy, of course, where they can do iontophoresis and ultrasound, massage therapy. There are a lot of other techniques that can be done. However, the major issue with a groin strain is really resting, because if you do a lot to irritate that area, it will persist and you'll have more pain, more inflammation, more discomfort. And of course, your exercise life, even your ability to walk, will be affected. All right, so I hope that helps you a lot. Again, look up adductor stretches. Again, ADDUCTOR stretches, which is specifically for groin or groin strain or groin discomfort. All right, so I hope that helps. You know, one thing I want to say too, I just thought about, is I would say of all the athletes that I treat, groin strains is really the most common in soccer players, football players, and sometimes I see it in baseball players, but soccer is the number one. I see that, and sometimes I have tennis players who come in with that also. All right, now the next one is from Chockey, and it's spelled CHOCKEH. Again, CHOCKEH, and the question is, hey, Dr. Levi, as someone who does boxing and goes home all sore? Is there anything I should do before sitting on my chair before gaming? Yes, absolutely. I recommend, I box quite a bit myself. I box. I'm actually dealing with some mild issues right now. And if you were here right now, you'd see my team looking at me like he has to stop boxing, but it's not going to happen. It's my life. Again, Muhammad Ali inspired. So let's talk about that. I recommend, I love boxing, from MMA to just regular boxing, mixed martial arts. I just love boxing. So, when it comes to boxing, it's so important that after you've boxed, that you do a lot of stretching exercises. Now, for your upper extremity, we have a plethora of exercises on YouTube to do for that. The hand, wrist form, stretching, strengthening exercise. It has over 800,000 views. That, I think of all the videos, it has everything that's very focused and very concise about what to do, how to do it properly, and more importantly, about the benefit that you have if you do them. And they're not difficult. Again, as I've talked about so often, you want to do the exercise and stretch just 5 minutes every hour. That's really not a lot of time, because if you're gaming, let's say 6 hours a day, let's say 8 hours a day. If you're gaming for 8 hours a day, if you do the stretches for 5 minutes, then you're doing 40 minutes of stretching in an 8-hour period. That's really not a lot of time. You want to give your body a break. If you give your body a break, it'll be faster. You'll have less pain. You'll be more clear with your thinking also, because you won't be hurting. Pain is a great distractor. If you're hurting, you're not focused on gaming strategy. You're not focused on, increasing your actions per minute or your clicks per second. You're focused on, what do I do to get rid of this pain? And so for myself, as a surgeon, specifically as a hand surgeon and as the gamer's doctor, I want you to not have pain. I want you to be healthy. I want you to feel good. So how do I get you to do that? Well, the stretching exercises, eating properly, being as fit as you can, not smoking, and doing all of those things you already know. I'm an advocate for health, of course, and I'm an advocate for self-evaluation, meaning that when you're doing things that aren't good for your health, like drinking and smoking or vaping, well, you already know it's not good. You don't need me in your ear saying, hey, don't do that. That's not good. You already know it. So I want to remind you to really take your health in your own hands and do what you can to be healthy, to be fit, and to really have a life that is injury-free. Not only as a gamer, but as an athlete, but more importantly, as a human being. Okay? So again, if you're boxing, the strengthening exercise, the stretching exercises for your upper extremity, but also, depending on which type of boxing that you're doing, if you're having kickboxing, for example, you also want to do the stretches for your adductors. You want to do stretches for your quads, for your hamstrings, and for your calves. Because the great thing about boxing is a full body workout. Everything is engaged. So, you really have to stretch everything. And the other thing about boxing I want to reiterate is it's so important that you stay very well hydrated, not only while you're boxing, but after you box, you want to really make sure you hydrate your body. Because as you already know, if you don't stay well hydrated, that will affect your thinking. It can put you at risk for a lot of other things. And speaking about risk, I want to go back to one question it was from Decore, DCORE 1337. You asked me about your trap muscles and tightness, and you said it makes you dizzy. I want to reiterate, as we talk about these things on the show, it's so important that even though I'm giving some general thoughts about things, I also recommend all the time that you go and see your own healthcare provider. I also recommend that you go and have a physical exam on a yearly basis. I also recommend that, as I talk to you online, I cannot physically evaluate you. I can't do a what I call a complete exam. So it's so important that, yes, I want to share with you some of my medical expertise, but at the same time, I have to also give you the disclaimer that you have to go and be seen by your doctor. Our videos are educational videos. They're not medical advisory type videos, because I cannot actually see you and put my hands on you and examine you and develop this incredible relationship with you that I do with all of my patients, because I'm really grateful to have a practice that continues to grow and to be extraordinarily successful, because I really love my patients and I treat my patients the way I treat my family. That's so important to me. And all of you as subscribers and viewers of the show, I treat you like my family also. But the unfortunate thing is that I can't physically examine you. I can't physically, put my hands on you and say, okay, look, this is what we need to do. You have pain here. This is what I recommend. Let's do therapy. Let's do acupuncture. Because I love acupuncture. I think acupuncture is a great modality of healing that so many people don't take advantage of when it has its proper place in medicine. It really does. Okay, so to decode 1337, because you have the dizziness, I still recommend that you still go and be evaluated by a doctor. That's so very important. Do the exercises sitting down, as we talked about, but also go and be evaluated by a physician because he or she may really be able to help you more. All right? Now, let's continue. A lot of questions here. So this is from Anas Kaden. I'm going to spell it. Anas, and the last name is Kaadan. And it's thank you, Dr. Levi, for all the valuable information and insights you've shared with us, but most of all for being an amazing human being. Thank you for that. I'm grateful. I found your videos by accident on YouTube, and I'm really glad I have. I wanted to ask what you thought about chiropractic care in general. Are adjustments and cracking actually good for the body? Okay, so Anas, A-N-A-S, Kaadan, Kaadan. Thank you very much for your question. So let's talk about chiropractic care because in my office, I often have patients and a lot of athletes that I take care of, as well as people who live right next door to me who come in to see me, and we talk about chiropractic care. So let me give you my thoughts about that. I think that chiropractic care definitely has its place in the medical community. It definitely does. Like acupuncture, for example, it has its place. I think to really have the best health in the world, I think it's so important that we marry different forms of medical treatments, meaning that we marry Eastern and Western medicine, chiropractic care, osteopathy, homeopathy. All of these things have their proper place in medicine. So even though I'm a Western-trained physician and surgeon and specialist, I still believe that everything has value. And I think chiropractic care has value also. So with that said, do I do adjustments? I have gotten them done, yes. Do I think they're effective? I think depending on what the issues are, I think it can be. So it's so important that you have a relationship with your chiropractic physician. It's so important that you understand what the goals are in treatment so that you have a set amount of time that you say, okay, these are our objectives, and these are how many times we think it's going to take to get you with the proper alignment. So often with many of my medical colleagues, they will often I'll have really heated conversations with many of my colleagues, which is okay. I don't mind being an outsider. I always have been. Who always tell me, well, hey, Levi, acupuncture and chiropractic care and, it doesn't work. And why do you even talk about it? You're giving people thoughts about something that's not proven, blah, blah, blah. So when people say that, I remind them that maybe it didn't work for you. It doesn't mean it won't work for your patient or for other people. Myself as a physician, it's all about giving hope to individuals and reminding them, of course, that, hey, you know what? If that treatment doesn't work, let's get you a second opinion. Let's get you a third opinion. Let's keep on pushing until we get you to the proper place that really helps you. And I think, again, chiropractic care does have its place in society. And I think it's so important that we're open to that, and more importantly, that we don't have the proverbial finger pointing that, hey, my medicine is better than your medicine, ha, ha, ha. To me, it's like a type of medical bullying. It really is. So when I talk to surgeons who really sort of put down other forms of healing, I think it's really unfortunate because they close the door for healing for their patients because they're saying that their way is the only way. It reminds me of my dad. My dad and I used to have these heated arguments when I was a kid because he'd often say, well, Levi, it's my way or the highway. And so often I just took the highway because I often feel like, you stand for something or you fall for anything. And if I believe in something very fiercely and intensely, then I'm not going to just say, yes, I agree. I'm not going to do that. And so, yes, Anis, I believe that chiropractic care does have its proper place. I think we should be open to that, like acupuncture has its proper place, and so does surgery. When it comes to surgery, and again, I want to reiterate, surgery, like taking a medication, does one of three things. I don't care what any doctor anywhere in the world tells you, surgery, like taking a medication, does one of three things: make you better, make you worse, or no change. It's always one of those three. So what are we doing? We're always hoping that if we use one of these modalities, such as medicine or surgery, that it will make us better. The same with acupuncture or chiropractic care or osteopathy. The goal is that you will have an approach to medicine that will make you better. So again, I want to reiterate here. My goal to medicine is what I call integrative medicine, meaning that you look at acupuncture, you look at chiropractic care, you look at medication if needed, physical therapy, acupressure, massage therapy. I could go on and on and on. Aromatherapy, all of these things, pet therapy, music therapy. There's so many different types of therapeutic modalities that I can talk about. I think many of them have their proper place. So I'm not the guy, I'm not that doctor who says, I have all the answers. I don't. I think, by the grace of goodness, I have a lot of answers that can help people. However, I don't think there's only one way. I believe there are multiple ways to get to perfect health, and I think we have to be open to that. And I think if you are, you will get the benefits. All right. So I hope that helps you, Anas. And again, that was from Anas, A-N-A-S. Last name was Kadan, Kadan, K-A-A-D-A-N. Now, the next one is from Avian Gaming. That's A-V-I-A-N, Gaming, G-A-M-I-N-G. Hello, I recently started playing a first-person shooter on PC, which I haven't really done before. And over the weekend, I spent about 10 hours collectively on it. After doing that, a part of my hand is feeling sort of numb and tingling, likely when it goes to sleep. More specifically, it's the right side of my hand with the ring and pinky fingers. I decided to take a break from gaming, and it's been 2 days, but my hand still feels numb and tingly. Is there anything else I can do to make it stop and prevent it from happening again? Again, this is from Avian, A-V-I-A-N, Gaming, G-A-M-I-N-G. So yeah, let's talk about that. Often with gamers, and again, I've seen this many, many times, they will often develop pain, numbness, and tingling in the small finger and half of the ring finger. This is due to outer nerve compression at either the wrist or at the elbow. So you can develop something called entrapment of the ulnar nerve at Guillen's canal here in the wrist, or you can have entrapment of the ulnar nerve in the cubital tunnel here in the medial aspect of the elbow. Now, I would bet that you, Avian Gaming, like many of the gamers that I take care of, that you're doing one of three things. You're either resting your wrist on the desk like this and flexing down and having a lot of compression on your wrist in this area, or you're resting your elbow on the table and having a lot of compression at this aspect of your elbow. Now, often you hear people talk about hitting their quote-unquote funny bone. Well, there's no funny bone in the body, all right? So, but we say that. But this area right here, if you tap right here, you will feel that numbness and tingling in your small finger and your ring finger. So again, this is the elbow. This is the medial epicondyle. And if you tap right underneath that, you'll feel some numbness and tingling in your small finger and your ring finger. That's the cubital tunnel area. So if you tap on the ulnar nerve like that, then that will give you that funny feeling in your small finger and ring finger. Now, so often, if you don't have compression in this area, you won't develop that problem specifically from gaming. However, there are a lot of other issues that can come because of cubital tunnel syndrome. So I want to focus on the gaming issues, though. Again, most likely you're either flexing your wrist a lot and having maybe a gel, some type of hard foam pad, or maybe where you're using your mouse, but there's something that you're doing that's causing compression at your wrist and also possibly at your elbow. So what I recommend is the following. Continue to do the stretching exercises. Also, if you can buy a brace to keep your elbow fairly extended when you're sleeping at night, because if your elbow's at 90 degrees, or if the acuity of the angles even more, that can also cause some tension along the ulnar nerve because it's tighter in this area. But if you extend it like that, if you rest with your elbows straight out, then you take away some of the stress on the ulnar nerve. Now, the other thing I want to add about that is the bottom line, too, is make sure you're taking the 5-minute break every hour. The body will really appreciate that. It's so very, very, very important. When it comes to the body, if you're having the stress from gaming, the issue with the gaming community athletes is the following. So often gamers are so committed to their game, they're so committed to their sport that they overdo it. And you have to take the breaks. If not, you will have pain. You will develop inflammatory issues, nerve compression issues, tendonitis. All these things I don't want you to have. I just don't want you to have them. I see in my office on a weekly basis from gamers who come in from all over the world to my office here in Los Angeles to get proper care. So if I'm taking care of one person on the team or the whole team, everyone gets the same talk about what to do. And some of the basics are the following: take the 5-minute break every 60 minutes. It's not that difficult. It really isn't. Now, other things that you can do if you're having pain in that area, you can also ice your wrist, ice your elbow, see if that helps to decrease the inflammation around the area and maybe calm down the nerve. And then, of course, maybe take a break for 2 days, maybe 3 days of not gaming, not doing an extensive amount of texting, typing, data input, mouse use. All of these things will really impact your body. And remember, you only have your body, so you have to respect it. You have to do what you can to stay healthy, be fit, and do all the things that you know will give you an extended career, but more importantly, prevent the problems. That's what I'm about. I'm about prevention of injuries in the gaming community, but more importantly, preventing them in everybody's life. That's what it's really about. Now, next question. This is an interesting handle, Rob Sig, ROBCIG. So he says, thank you, doctor, for taking the time to post this. I'm 3 months post-surgery for a full thickness tear and a biceps tenodesis. I regained 80% range of motion through physiotherapy, and things are going well. What exercise do you recommend for me to regain strength? Okay, and again, it's from ROBCIG. Okay, after you've had a rupture of your biceps tendon or a full thickness tear like that, the key is the following. The number one thing is don't push it. Let your body heal. You've already had surgery, so you have anchors there now, most likely, holding down the tendon. So the key is to rest, continue to do your therapy, do the exercise that they recommend that you do. There are a lot, in my practice, for example, if I do a biceps repair, the following things I recommend is after about 6 to 8 weeks, I recommend after the surgery, 2 weeks after surgery, I start some real gentle motion. And then as that progresses, we progress to more and more motion without any weight. So they're not doing weights. But I do have them go back to the gym in about 6 weeks doing exercise, again, with no weights at all. Just some things that will actually get motion back at their elbows, increase their pronation and supination, but more importantly, allow everything to heal first. If you rush it, trust me, you will re-rupture. And that is not a fun process. You know, I'm grateful to say I've never had a re-rupture on a repair that I've done. I don't want to have one because I've been in surgery with people who've had that happen to them, and it's not. You know, I've had physicians who've called me to assist them in surgery to re-repair, and it's a lot of drama because often there's a lot of scar tissue there. There's a lot of hematoma, bleeding. It's just a lot of drama, and drama is something that I don't want to participate in. That's the bottom line. I like drama-free living. I hope you do too. So again, Rob Sig, I recommend continue with your physical therapy. Listen to your physician, whatever she did or whatever he did to repair everything. I would really stick to them because I don't know where the rupture was, how they repaired it, what they used, what the technique was. So to give you specifics about what you should do, I think would be a disservice to the doctors who repaired that, all right? So I think, again, continue with your aggressive physical therapy, that's for sure. Maintain your proper diet, and more importantly, don't rush it because if you do too much, too soon, too quick, You're going to have more drama than you can even imagine. And trust me, you won't like it. And then when you send me an email about it, I'm not going to like hearing that. I want you to be healthy and fit so you can get on with your life. That's the goal here. A happy, joyful, productive life of service. All right. The next one, I love this handle. This is from, I actually love this. This is from Good Vibes, GOODVIBES. That's a great one. I tell you, Good Vibes, I'm all about that. So the question is, would this actually work for drumming and guitar playing too? I hurt my wrists and fingers a lot when playing gigs and at parades. Okay, Good Vibes. So let me tell you this. The great thing about your question is later this year, I'm planning on, I'm writing it right now how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do a video specifically for musicians. I've been talking about it for about 6 months and planning on how I want to do it. So I may reach out to a drummer friend of mine, Glenn Sobel, who's a phenomenal drummer who I think right now he was working with I can't remember the name of the group. It'll come to me in a second. But Glenn Sobel, who's a phenomenal drummer, I'm going to reach out to him and ask him, would he help me to do a video whereby when he's playing the drums, I will show you things that can be corrected and show you things that you want to do and maybe not do as a drummer. I also have a guitarist on. I have another friend who's and patient who's also a guitarist, and I will ask him, will he do the video with me? So if to show you what to do with the hand that you're fretting versus the hand that you're playing chords with, because I take care of a lot of musicians also, and I think it will be a beneficial and educational video to do for them. I really do. So your question is a great one. So again, for you, I recommend the following. The hand exercises, hand grip strengthening exercises, the inertial exercises, that's NIRSCHL. And again, I have a video with those also. Inertial exercise, I'm going to just back up so you can see those. Inertial exercises were the ones whereby you have your arm straight out and you hold your wrist down in the flex position for 30 seconds, but you keep your elbow straight. Then you bring the hand up, and then you bring your hand back, you flex it back, but keep the elbow straight and you hold that for 30 seconds. Those are some of the basic inertial exercises. The other ones that you should do as a drummer are the following. I'll just do it with one hand. You keep your arm straight around the world with your wrist, then back around the world, a set of 10 this way, 10 the opposite way. Then you want to do the flappers. I'm going to show you the flappers. I'll do it from the side. So you go side to side like this, then center, then the Queen's wave, then around the world with an open palm, back around the world. So I recommend doing 10 sets of those. Now, the issue with drumming is such intense vibratory issues that occurs for your whole body. It's so important also that you consider icing your wrist before, icing your wrist after drumming. The other things that you can do, of course, is after you've done a set, to take like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just to do some of those exercises then also. The issue here is life is very, very fluid. So I understand when you can't do it like on the hour. I get that. However, it's so important that if you can't do it every hour, that's fine. Maybe every hour and 15 minutes, every 90 minutes. But the stretches are critical to maintaining your health, but more importantly, for preventing an injury. The key here, it's all about prevention. It truly is. Now, I want to talk to you about one other issue for drummers too that I've seen, and that is shoulder pain. And the shoulder pain, again, is from the reaching constantly, to get to which drum that they're hitting. It's also from sometime hitting the cymbals. There's so many things involved with drumming. It's a very, very intricate way of playing, and these musicians often suffer a lot. However, when they come to me, I tell them again about these basic exercises for their shoulders, exercises for their neck, exercises for their lower back. The goal here again is drumming is a full body sport. And musicians, like gamers, are actual athletes. So often people can't really put together the fact that musicians are athletes, but they are. And the same with the gaming community, the esport athletes, gamers. These individuals are actual athletes. And so many people have what I call a very small definition of what an athlete is. Well, we have to expand that. And the esports community, I'm about doing what I can to expand the consciousness so that people understand that gamers and esports athletes, number one, should be respected. Number two, they truly are athletes. And number three, what they do takes a lot of thinking, a lot of body mechanics, manipulation, a lot of strategic mindset. It's very, very intense. And I love watching gamers. And I play sometimes, but I really love watching. I'm a big esports fan, but I'm also someone who really loves watching the game because you can just see the strategy that someone's planning out. If they're playing League or Smash Brothers or CSGO or OSU, I mean, there's so many things I can talk about. But I love being a part of this community. So let me just say that. So again, as a drummer, yes, the exercises on YouTube will help you. I recommend you do them every day. And if you're drumming, take time to do the stretching exercise every 5 minutes. All right. Now, I had one last question. This was from Matty Boy. That's Matty, last name Bhoy. And the question is, can this also hinder inner forearm development, carpal tunnel syndrome? So, well, carpal tunnel syndrome is really it's a hand issue, compression of the median nerve at the wrist, which affects the thumb, index finger, middle finger, and half of the ring finger with numbness, tingling, decreased grip strength, and pain that may wake you up at night, a feeling of electricity or lightning in those fingers, and difficulty with dexterity. So that's the bottom line with carpal tunnel. It's the most common nerve entrapment issue of the upper extremity. It's more common in women than men. And why it happens, we don't know. There are some risk factors that we do see with respect to diabetes. And people can also develop it during pregnancy. They can get what's called gestational carpal tunnel. And then often will go away after pregnancy, and sometimes will linger on after that. But why people get carpal tunnel, some of us think it's from repetitive motion. There are other communities of thought that think it's not from that. There have been the Mayo study that showed that it's not necessarily from repetitive motion. So the jury is still kind of out why people develop carpal tunnel. And myself, in my practice, I see it mainly with a lot of athletes and with people who do a lot of repetitive motion. That's my personal experience, and that's where I can talk from my place of authority. But can it hinder inner forearm development? No, I'm not aware of it causing any type of atrophy of your upper or inner forearm. However, if you're not using your hand because of weakness and pain, you can get atrophy of the forearm muscles and the thenar muscles if your carpal tunnel is quite severe. All right. Well, I want to thank you for joining me. So this was a Q&A with Dr. Levi. Join me on my website, of course, is drleviharrison.com. YouTube, of course, is Dr. Levi Harrison. Instagram, it's the same. Snapchat, it's all the same. And I hope the questions were answered. I hope you understand what I was saying today. And if you don't, send me back another question. I'll do my best to answer them. I want to thank you for being a part of the Dr. Levi community. So this is Dr. Levi, the gamer's doctor, the esports doctor. Have a great, great, great week. Take care, everybody. It's Dr. Levi. Bye.